Okay. Did you know that in almost 60% of elderly abuse and neglect incidents that the perpetrators are their family? And 2/3 of those perpetrators are their adult children or spouses. That statistic comes from flcourts.gov and was written in 2023. So this is brand new data. We all likely know someone who's elderly. You have or have you had any grandparents, an elderly neighbor that lives down the street, older aunts and uncles, elderly church friends, or coworkers? Well, according to justice.gov, adults age 65 and older make up close to 15% of the United States population, and so we likely all know someone elderly. For the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about elderly abuse, provide some statistics, talk about how we can identify warning signs, and speak about how we can help. So let's jump in. According to justice.org, 90% of elderly abuse occurs while they are living in the community, not in an institution or a facility, but right in their own homes. And as I stated before, 60% of the abusers are their family. flcourt.gov states that the abuse against elders is so widely underreported, it's estimated that for every one case that is reported, 24 are not. And the risks of not reporting elderly abuse are large. Again, flcourt.gov states that elders who've experienced even a slight amount of abuse have a 300% higher risk of death when compared to those who have not been abused. So how can you help? Well, first, you'll need to learn how to spot the warning signs. The National Council on Aging created a list, and I'm going to review some today. Physical warning signs can include dehydration, unexplained cuts and bruises, unusual weight loss, unsanitary living conditions, poor hygiene, amongst others. So keeping an eye on your elderly's physical conditions can help save their life. Emotional or behavioral warning signs are a little harder to notice if you're not close with the individual, but warning signs can include a withdrawal from daily activities, changes in their sleeping pattern, increased fear or anxiety, or isolation from their friends and family. And financial warning signs can look like unpaid bills, sudden or unusual changes in their spending habits, or even fraudulent signatures on their financial documents. The second way to help is to learn how to report elderly abuse. Obviously, if there's a life-threatening emergency, you're going to call 911. But if there's not a life-threatening emergency, you can go to www.napsa-now.org, and their website will guide you through the process. NAPSA stands for National Adult Protective Services Association. Or you can call the non-emergency police line. But no matter what path you choose to report it, we must report it. No, not knowing how can no longer be an excuse. So you may be thinking, this is none of my business. I do not want to get involved. Well, I have news for you. The health and safety of all people is indeed your business. If you saw a child on the street being approached by a stranger, trying to coerce them into their vehicle, would you step in and help, or would you watch that child get kidnapped? My hope is that we would step in and help. Well, the same goes for our elderly. They are human, and as humans, it's up to us to help and protect them. Turning a blind eye would surely have them continue to live in miserable conditions, and it could quite possibly cost them their life. And you don't want that on your conscience. So let's do a little exercise. Clear your mind, and let's imagine a world where as you grow older, You're able to live your golden years surrounded by people who love you and who go out of their way to ensure your life is full and memorable. You're filled with gratitude, love, and happiness. That's a great feeling. On the contrary, let's imagine as you're growing older in your life, you're finding it harder to do the day-to-day activities you could once easily do, and you find yourself unable to depend on or even afraid of those who are supposed to be taking care of you. You're filled with anxiety, fear, and hopelessness. Well, if we continue to be afraid of reporting elderly abuse, by 2060, Justice.gov estimates that over 10 million men and over 10 million women will fall victim to elderly abuse. And let's not forget, if we're lucky, we will also be elders one day. So the time is now. We have a call to action. We must all be responsible for looking out and taking care of our elders. And here's a few ways on how we can do that. Call and visit your elder as much as you can. That will provide many benefits. 1, you'll build trust with them. 2, you'll be able to see and notice when their patterns or behaviors are off. And then you just get to soak up as much time with them as you possibly can as well. 2, offer to stay with a full-time caregiver, frequently if you can. Giving, just as parents of young babies or kids need a break, so do those of full-time elderly caregiver. They need to decompress and reset their mental and emotional states. It will make them less likely to be abusive. And 3, just keep an eye out for those warning signs and do not hesitate to report it. So today we learned some appalling statistics on elderly abuse, talked about learning about the warning signs and a few ways that we can help. So as you go about your day and your life, I hope you take the time to look out for your elderly people, appreciate them, and take care of them. Thank you. And then I have to show my audience.
You convinced me, I gotta call my mom. See how she's doing.